G'day guys, Carl Jocumsen here, out on the water talking about glide baits and my full setup that I use when it comes to tournament fishing, fun fishing, chasing the fish of a lifetime. The glide bait is by far my favourite technique out of all of them. It's given me some of the best catches, big comebacks in tournaments. I've caught my 10-10 PB here on Lake Chickamauga. Just an incredible technique that I really enjoy. And we're just going to go over rod, reel, line, and bait and modification setups to help you get out there and catch a few bass. The biggest key for me, straight up, one of the best and the biggest factors is the rod. It's the Miller Rod Dream Freak. And this has been custom designed through me and Ian Miller, who builds these rods from scratch. He came over, we worked on them for a long time, and we came up with the 710 Dream Freak. It's got a lot of power down low. It's got a nice long handle, detachable handle too. You can get it up under your armpit. And you can just, you can really have control over that rod. It's got plenty of tip, and that's the main thing. It's got a lot of feel, so you can roll cast and you can fish it all day. It's nice and light. When it comes to the reel, I use a wide variety of Shimanos, but the biggest thing is a low ratio. So in that 4 to 5 ratio, gear ratio is really good. 6.2 to 1 is about the highest end that you want to go, but I like that 5.5 is my favorite. I use the Tranx 300, the Tranx 400, the new Corrado 300, and then this is kind of the one that I've had for a lot of years. This is like a reel that you'll buy and just sort of have forever. I've had it for 4 or 5 years, and that's the Conquest, and it's sort of the top end of the whole line. But any of those reels are going to be phenomenal glide bait reels. They're just a little bit bigger handles, a lot of power. That's what you want. The low ratio reel is going to give you winching power when that fish eats it, and it's going to winch that fish in. And it's also going to help you when you chop the bait and you work the bait. It's nice and easy, you're not working hard, and you're going to be able to do it all day. When it comes to fishing line, Sunline, I use Sunline Shooter. I have done for a lot of years now. It was my go-to line after testing a bunch. I use 20 when it comes to clear water and finicky fish, 22 when I want a little bit more, and then when I'm in heavy cover, 25-pound Sunline Shooter. It's got low stretch. It just helps the bait work and helps it chop, and then it also just gives you that feel when a fish bites it, because it's kind of like a jerk bait bite. So that's the rod, reel, and line setup. And now when it comes to baits, I use a ton of different baits. My two favorites are obviously the Storm Arashi Glide, which Brandon had a big part in designing, and then the Molix 178 Glide is what I helped design. I just had this one up north, casting it around for smallmouth and getting them to come up and chase it. And so I helped design the Molix 178. I love the both of them. I love the Molix when they're feeding on shad, gizzard shad, balls of shad in a bit more open water. And then I like the Arashi Glide for when the fish are more territorial, aggressive, sitting around structure. And that's what happened like in Chickamauga when I had the 25-pound bag. They were setting up in those trees and then coming out and ambushing it. It just chops really well. They both chop well, they both glide well, they do everything that you want, and they're both super affordable. Couple of little mods. The first thing I do, I take the hooks off every glide that comes out of the pack, and I put Owner Hyperwire split rings on, and then I put a quad hook on. There's quite a few different quad hooks out there. I'm working with Owner at the moment, trying to get Owner to do the ultimate quad hook. It's got 4 points basically on it, so it just gives it another point to grab those fish if they nip at it or slash at it. It just helped my catch ratio really go up a lot from hook to land ratio. So that's my hooks, and then size-wise, I just do that off the depth. So the smaller you go, the more the bait's going to want to suspend or float. The bigger you go, it's going to want to pull that bait down and be able to fish it deeper. So 2, 1, and 1.0 are sort of my 3 go-to sizes. So the last but not least is the swivel, and so a glide bait will tumble and it'll spin in the air when you cast it, and so that'll twist your fluorocarbon up and create all sorts of problems. So make sure you got to have a swivel on there, because twisting will weaken it. And then also just having a swivel is another point for like the fish not to get leverage of that bait. The snap clip is a necessary evil. I've tried a bunch of different snaps, and I'm still testing a bunch of different things, but you have to have a snap on here. The bait will not work if you put a split ring through there. Won't work as well. It'll look okay, but I've tried it all, and the catch ratio and the bite ratio is just better when you have a snap with a swivel. Nice solid strong knot there, San Diego jam, and I'm pretty much ready to go gliding. That's my full glide bait setup. I use short sharp chops with the handle. I use long slow glides, all depending, and I throw it absolutely everywhere. And in the south here, I throw it around cover. I love throwing it around cover. It's not just an open water bait. But that's my full glide bait setup. I fish in tournaments, I fish it at the end of the season and everywhere I can, and I've caught giant bass all over the country, and it's definitely my favourite. I'm addicted to it, and I think you will be too.